Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the top 16 of RBT5 right here on Vanille's stream. We are on Dead Air, and we have a hell of a match tonight that's going to be a home and away series between teams Bathtub Swimmers and EVO. I am Rails Barlow, one of your tournament administrators and your solo caster for tonight's match. We are going to be here for the long haul. No finale being played on Dead Air as far as I remember in terms of home and away, but we're going to have 8 maps of action here between these two teams. It's number 7 seeded EVO versus the number 10 seed Bathtub Swimmer, Chinese team versus the North American team. So we're going to be seeing that home and away as I just mentioned. We've been seeing some really nice matches so far on Dead Air here for the top 16. A couple forfeits, unfortunately, but that is just kind of how it goes in a tournament that goes this long. I don't expect to see any of those, honestly, next week for the top 8, but before we even get to there, we have to deal with this game in front of us right now. Honestly, I've seen a lot of home and away matches that sometimes have been blowouts just based on ping discrepancy and that kind of stuff. This one is looking to be a bit fairer because we're going to be starting on Surprise, New York for Bathtub Swimmers' home server. It's going to be about how much they can score and how well they can do, of course, on Dead Air, which we've seen in the competitive community, honestly, since around 2008, since it was in Left 4 Dead 1. This is going to be on Zone Mod, however, not on Apex and not on a Left 4 Dead 1 config, so a bit of a different game than that full Left 4 Dead 1 style that we've seen in a couple games in the past. And honestly, I'm looking at chat's predictions too in terms of who they think is going to win. I'm right there with you. I'm not sure exactly who's going to take this match. It could easily go either way, especially because Bathtub Swimmers have had Hydro come back to their roster. We'll get to talking about that in just a second, but it's going to be the early tank here on map 1, as usual, not one of the tanks that has to be taken in a room. We had a great discussion, honestly, on the tournament Discord for anybody who missed it about Dead Air's competitive vitality in 2021. I am going to be really interested, though, to see specifically how EVO play this map and how they're going to follow the metagame for this. They are going to also be starting on the red ping, of course, so expecting to see them play maybe a bit more conservatively than they will on their home server, but Bathtub Swimmers really just have to try to get as many wipes as possible, of course, and make those safe rooms with a good amount of bonus. 14 Bathtub Swimmers, they'll be starting here on map 1 on Survivor side. We have the Face, also known as Presto, the @Face, I guess, Spirit, Sue, and Hydra, as I mentioned before, and 14 EVO, we have Little Uzi Vert, T-Ima, Fantasy, and WSND. Honestly, I've seen both of these teams play in different competitions with very similar lineups. EVO extremely consistent in terms of theirs, and Bathtub Swimmers, these players have played together for at least a couple of tournaments on different teams, maybe in a different combination, but this I'd say is definitely their strongest showing that they'll be able to use tonight. And honestly, this is a game, as I said, it could go either way, but it's really going to depend on these tanks, especially when you're playing against a team like EVO who has such experience on that high ping, and as soon as Fantasy raises up, we will indeed be able to take it live. And I don't even think there's going to be a full hit before the survivors are able to trigger that tank. They might be leaving somebody here in the safe room just to block those spawns from behind, but we'll see exactly what they choose to do in just a couple minutes. In some of the games we've already seen this week, we did see Team Stuck in Rotation defeat Team Babylonia yesterday. It was a really interesting game, and Babylonia obviously, even though they got eliminated, I say, congrats to them for doing such a good job in terms of matching Stuck in Rotation on a couple of those maps. And we still have a couple lineups this week that we're waiting to see where they're going to be scheduled, specifically Keyboard Warriors versus Quick Cleans. We expect that to be happening tomorrow. And right now, though, we're going to be able to get this game live before any of that happens. The GLHFs are coming out, and let's see what Team Bathtub Swimmers do on their Survivor side. As this first tank for Team EVO is immediately up into the hands of Fantasy. He's going to be climbing straight to the roof, as we do have a pounce going in, plus a 1-boom landing onto Bill. Tank trying to avoid taking a whole lot of chip, jumping down, actually, instead of going up the skyscraper here. We're going to see if he's actually able to keep sight or do some kind of commit with this. Looks like he's wasting almost no time trying to keep that sight on the ladder. That by the way, is a fire escape, not a skyscraper, but it can be if you put your mind to it, I guess. They have a smoker jockey and a charger for the support hit. Also, EVO pinging between 177 and 252, so a decent red ping range there, but Fantasy's going to be taking some chip, working his way forward. Looks as though he's going to immediately climb the ladder to the roof, so this is going to be the tank's commit from what I can see. The smoker pole goes out onto Zoe in the front. The tank is nowhere near that, however. The smoker dies, and the tank now is just going to be committing in with this, chasing Lewis around in the back. Charger spawns up as well. This is going to be Spirit kiting this tank around. Absolutely no damage going out, and this is unfortunate now for Fantasy, who decides to decommit with 3.1k HP and his support entirely down. I am not sure what that was exactly, because the Smoker got a pull pretty early there just to get some kind of separation, and now EVO are going to be forced to recommit this tank with half health, already on second pass, and with a support hit that's going to have to do a very, very nice amount of damage, but that's not going to be it. WSND's Boomer getting completely shut down right there. Not the strongest start on the away server, we can say, for EVO on SI, but this tank is now going to be keeping sight, getting chipped even more. Bathtub Swimmers know they have him exactly where they want him in terms of this. No damage from the tank coming out yet, and just 5 points of damage on the board as a team for EVO, as Fantasy is going to recommit here with that Smoker once again, trying to get a pull to the front, and now the tank is actually going to be able to move forward and punch Zoe for the first bit of damage. Hunter bouncing around as well, landing up top. The tank is down to 400 HP. That is going to be a decent amount of damage actually salvaged from that tank, as this Charger also gets a punch, knocking Francis off those beams, but a non-ideal start on the SI side from EVO, and a good take there by Bathtub Swimmers. They're going to be looking to make quick work of this map. Honestly, Dead Air Map 1, the only real time this becomes an issue for either side is if they get Depth Charge or wipe to the tank. The tank doesn't usually do that either in the safe room area, so now it's going to be damage mitigation for Team Bathtub Swimmers, as the Boomer in front does manage to land off this 2-2. Jockey's going to be going in, Imagine get a last. It's a nice momentary double cap with that Hunter as well. Still not cleared, actually. Presto taking an impressive amount of damage from that hit, almost a full in cap coming off of that 2-2, so that was a great hit by EVO to make the most of that. They know they only have one more hit afterwards, and depending on how that Hunter got cleared, it's probably going to be something with a Boomer tri-cap, if I'm not mistaken. So, Charger Smoker already in the queue, Bathtub Swimmers pushing their way forward. They really just have to get outside of this building and not get multi-capped on the home server here for them. Smoker does spawn up in the front. Imagine get a pull on to Lewis there, dragging him outside. The Charger is going to miss. There's the alarm car being triggered, and it's just a Jockey left in queue for Team EVO now, as Team Bathtub Swimmers are going to be trying to run through the horde. The Jockey goes in, gets M2'd a lot, and then shot in the face for his trouble as Bathtub Swimmers make the first map. Total of 732 points to start for them on their home server. As I mentioned before, they've done the first part, which is making the safe room with bonus, and now if they can wipe Team EVO, they'll be in a nice position going into map 2 here. Once again, on that tank's commit, the original commit, there was a Smoker pull that went out, but the tank couldn't capitalize. I mean, they did a good job in terms of decommitting with the tanks, that they could get some kind of damage off of that, but honestly, the 2-2 that they hit in that room did just about as much damage as the tank fight in total. I'm not sure exactly how Team Bathtub Swimmers tank is going to approach this, because I think that separation 3-cap is a really good idea, but it's really going to depend on when the SI go in. If the tank's going to be rotating up top and getting chipped the entire time, it's a really, really tough tank to play from Special Infected side. There's just so much room for the survivors to work, and if they manage to keep somebody in the safe room for whatever duration of time they can, that limits the spawns to being just above them and coming from one direction, either above or directly opposite them. So we'll see exactly how Team EVO plays that, as we're going to see this first tank of the game spawn up into the hands of Sue for Team Bathtub Swimmers. The Spitter is also going to die just right now after that one boom lands. They've saved a Hunter in the meantime. Sue's going to be rotating almost in the same way that we saw Fantasy rotate, but he is not interested in taking any chip whatsoever. He is also the one player in this game who isn't really going to have a true home server. He has about 106 ping rolling into this, but he's been used to playing that over the last few tournaments in quite an impressive way. So let's see what they're able to do with this hit that they've got. It's a Jockey, Hunter, and a Charger for the first hit coming in. Charger's just going to YOLO charge at Lewis there. They don't want that. The Smoker or the Boomer, I agree, is definitely better, especially if the Boomer can come from up top, as we saw on that first hit that they sent. Sue's down to 15% HP, and honestly, I like his decision not to take any chip, because he's going to get railed by those Uzis as he climbs up the top, but this will have to be the hit they decide to go in with, whether it is that Boomer or that Smoker. EVO have left their shotgun in the safe room with their Uzis positioned up top, trying to get any amount of chip they possibly can, as we're going to see Sue commit this right now, climbing up the ladder to the top instead of having to do the jumps on the pipes there. That's the last stand update for you. Down to just about 4.4k, getting completely railed as is expected here, but now he's got in the safe room, and that's going to be an initial corner onto him as he's getting knocked around. The Jockey is also going to die. The Hunter's managing to land along with the 2-boom, so this is a good amount from the SI support, but this is going to be Sue dropping down now onto Francis, just going for the in-cap, getting absolutely railed by those Uzis and that shotgun, down to just under 200 HP, and he is going to die, but that's essentially 2 downs on that first tank. We do see Bill popping pills instead of taking the in-cap as well to remain fast, because EVO now are going to be trying to make quick work of these next 2 hits, because that's about all they're going to have to deal with if they manage to play them correctly. Unfortunately, in that safe room too, even though the double boom landed, it was a little bit late, so the Horde had some trouble getting in until the end, but this Charger's having no problem getting a double charge right there onto Bill and Lewis, and the Jockey's going to land as well. Smoker's going to get cleared, but that is a nice amount of damage coming out in that corridor from Team Bathtub Swimmers, 100%. Let's see if they manage to get maybe another Charger, depending on when that died, for the last hit as they're making their way in their ghost form as Special Infected, following Team EVO as they push into the building. It's going to be a Charger, Boomer, Hunter, and one more spawn coming into queue is going to be that Spitter. So the Charger and Hunter are both going to go in right now. The Charger's going to whiff, but the Pound Spit is going to land on the stairs, but the Spit spread not ideal for the Special Infected there, spreading down instead of up, and the Survivor was able to really get out of it by just going back up the stairs. Boomer is trying to troll Bill in the front here and set off the alarm card, but the proxy does not work as the rest of Team EVO file their way in. So no wipe coming out for Bathtub Swimmers. This is a very makeable map, as we've just seen EVO prove to us on their first half as survivors. So 732 to 536 going into the next map. Only about a 196 point difference. I can actually be a caster that does math sometimes. And that is still pretty comfortable for both teams. And like I said, map 1 there, you don't usually see a massive wipe unless someone gets death charge. You get a triple cap on the tank or some kind of insane boom that gets Horde in there before the tank is able to get in. So this is really, really nice for Team EVO as well, making the map. I expect, honestly, that Team Bathtub Swimmers will be able to replicate that on the Chinese server, but we will have to see, especially because this tank here on map 2 can be a real challenge for both teams. Thankfully, though, it's going to be at 58%, so we're not going to be seeing any room tanks here on map 2 of Dead Air, unless the team decides to take it back that way. But I think it's pretty universally agreed that the rooftop is the best spot to fight any tank on this chapter, because that just makes life easier for the survivors. Seeing some fast ready-ups as well, as Bathtub Swimmers are going to be making their way out of the safe room on Survivor side, and they're going to be dealing with a 3-cap with the Charger, Hunter, Smoker, and Boomer. We'll see if Team EVO decides to sack the Boomer. Indeed, they're going to send the Boomer in, and it's going to get shut down by Spirit because they want that Spitter for this fire escape. It is, I think Amethyst mentioned yesterday that it is one of the most deadly hits in all of Dead Air, but Team Bathtub Swimmers are not interested in that. They are going to get double charged with a pull coming out in the back, and the Survivor is actually going to be on the fire barrels, taking some additional damage from that, and that honestly was a good amount of damage for that hit without that Spitter being able to really capitalize, since Bathtub Swimmers knew they would be able to get past it before that Spitter was up. We're going to see the Spitter spit in the front now, and then maybe work its way outside. Honestly, one of the things about this version of Zone Mod that I've seen be the most effective is spit damage, whether it's free spit or whether it's spitting on a pinner that way. So I wouldn't be surprised to see this Spitter save for a couple hits as that one boom goes out. But now he's going to get picked by Bill in the front before the Charger or Jockey are able to go in. But now the Jockey is going to get a latch onto Lewis in the back for a bit more damage. Okay, so no death charge like we saw in the Stuck in Rotation versus Babylonia game yet, hoping not to caster curse either of these teams, but this is going to be now Team Bathtub Swimmers trying to make their way back downstairs into the ideal room to fight this Horde off, but a Hunter is going to be wall-kicking in there, managing to land. Spitter and Boomer are also up. The Proxy Boom goes out. Spit's going to go in and not land on much of anything, but does impressively cover almost the entire length of that room. This is where I think EVO are going to keep that, because really the only way to get good damage in that room is to land some kind of, you know, single or double cap with Spit, and the Survivors are going to be able to take all the Special Infected from one direction, and that's going to be a nice play by Hydro to push up the stairs and kill the Spitter before that next hit. I like that, especially on the home server from Team Bathtub Swimmers, showing some of their dominance and that they can just take care of that issue before it really hurt them anymore. And now it's just a 3-cap waiting potentially for a quad, but I think they're going to get another Boomer. Jockey, Charger, Hunter, and Boomer indeed. This has a lot less damage potential because that Spitter is dead. They are going to go in now, though. Boomer's going to get a single boom, and the Hunter is also going to land in the back after we saw a couple scratches go out from that Charger and Jockey. But with this double boom, that's going to be Bathtub Swimmers leaving the room, trying to make their way through the event and maybe up the dumpster before another hit is in, since the Horde is mostly dead. They are also going to be triggering that tank in about 18%, so ammo might be a question for them, but they did not go back, so they're going to have to deal with what they have now for the rest of this chapter until that tank fight. Charger, Spitter, Smoker, Jockey as well for Team EVO setting up. So they weren't able to take the dumpster, but now they're positioned pretty well outside, trying to clear the common in front the most they can, and knowing this is an extremely deadly choke of its own if they're able to get any kind of charger on those survivors. Bathtub Swimmers baiting it pretty well, I'd say, too. They've got Presto positioned in the back with that Uzi trying to block any side spawns. But now we are going to see the hit go in. It's going to be a charge landing after a pull with a spit on top of that. And now a Jockey landing as well onto Zoe for more damage. So that's a nice job by EVO to land that hit. Not going for anything spectacular in terms of a death charge or a bowling death charge, but just guaranteeing damage prior to this tank, which we are going to be seeing spawn up in just a short few seconds as the survivors work their way forward. Again, I'm not 100% how their ammo situation is right now, but they have to be pretty careful since this tank can be a rock tank or just an extremely deadly commit tank depending on how EVO play it. It's up into the hands of WSND for EVO with the first hit being Hunter, Smoker, and Boomer, and the tank is actually attempting to keep sight from the plank on the side there before dropping off the roof as this hit's going to be going in. That's a nice 16 damage pounce landing onto Presto from that Hunter off the top of the building, and now we have a dumpster attempting to be put into play by the tank down below as that one boom also goes out. That would be a hittable frenzy. If they're managing to get it, and that car also goes spiraling across the roof until it falls back down in the street, this tank is committing to getting some of those hittables up top prior to going in, which I think is a great play on the SI side. Bathtub Swimmers hanging where they are right now as that dumpster is going to go onto the roof and fall off again, and this car also not quite able to make it, unfortunately, here, but the tank hasn't really taken a whole lot of chip from it either. This looks like there is going to be one dumpster on the roof as the tank is going to commit now, probably having to climb directly up here as that also is going to be a dumpster in front in case the survivors went that way. Committing in now with this SI support also coming in. This tank is going to be looking for a long arm punch, not going to get it, however. Jockey, Hunter, Charger going in. The Charger's going to land. Hunter is looking for it as well, manages to get it, and there's a tank punch going out. This Charger doing so much damage, and that is a rolling 3-cap landing on the Team Bathtub Swimmers with that Jockey. That's going to be almost 3 survivors down. The tank has 2k HP left to its name, landing a rock onto Sue. Hittable is going to miss, though, as the tank is working his way around the roof, getting another punch onto Zoe, and that's going to be the in-cap. 400 health left for WSND here, as spawns are also coming up. This is perilous for Team Bathtub Swimmers. The tank is going to die, but Spirit is the only survivor left up, and he's going to have a full hit coming in. That Smoker is going to be a problem as there's more spawns coming into queue. He's looking to get any one of these pickups possible. This Common's going to jump in. Spit goes in as well, and he's still just trying to make his way to any of his teammates. The Smoker is not dead until now either. It's going to be a Hunter and a Charger coming into queue right now for EVO, maybe trying to look for the double cap, but that is going to be a revive. There is the Hunter landing onto Spirit as the Charger is looking to go Fifth City onto Bill right there. That is even more damage going out. This is a disaster on the home server, honestly, for Team Bathtub Swimmers right now. They have to try to get everyone back on their feet and then make as many distance points as possible. Beautiful job by EVO on that tank with the SI support landing almost a triple cap, but managing to land all the pinners that they had. That's going to be a Smoker spawning in the back, going on to Francis. Jockey intercepting onto Zoe. So this is where EVO is trying to get just as much damage as they possibly can, either in sync in terms of the SI or just getting any single spawns they can to stop the survivors from making their way forward. Nobody black and white yet, but everyone bleeding. Hydro at just about 59 HP of temporary health now. He has the most health of the survivors left. They're looking to maybe find another set of pills, and indeed they do, but that's still going to be 2 survivors slow, having to take a few deadly hits from EVO inside this building. Boomer is going to Kool-Aid Man through the wall, landing a triple boom by proxy. Nice skeet by Hydro onto that Hunter, but that's going to be a Jockey landing in the back onto Presto for some more damage. Now the Charger's going to go in, managing to land onto Presto as well. Just absolute chaos so far on the survivor side here for Bathtub Swimmers, as this Horde is also coming in from that 3-boom. No survivors black and white yet, however, and we have 2 of them who are fast. Sue and Hydro both above 40 HP, at least for the moment, but with Presto and Spirit bleeding out, this really is going to favor EVO here. That Smoker is going in for something, not landing it, however. The Boomer does get a single boom out as the Smoker dies, and I'd like to see EVO maybe just hit a bit more in sync right now, but the most important thing is that they are doing damage, and there's going to be a pound spit on top of the cubicles, but Hydro is not going to take damage because he is on one of the cubicle walls. Unfortunate for Team EVO, but nice survivor positioning by him. And now Bathtub Swimmers are going to be trying to make the safe room just to get as much distance as they can if they can complete the map that way on their home server. Charger, Jockey, Boomer, and a Smoker for the next hit. Spawning up now as Bathtub Swimmers are baiting it out despite the fact that they're bleeding. They have to be careful here as the Charger is going to go in from the back, going to land but then get instantly cleared. The Smoker does land on a Presto as well, with a single boom going out. So these hits are being dealt with fairly well by Bathtub Swimmers, but now they have to be careful because they're going to be working their way outside with just one more hit to take. Honestly, they've already gotten most of the distance points so far as well, so if they were to die here in some way, it really wouldn't hurt them as much, but they have absolutely no bonus to their names as they're working their way forward. It's going to be a Jockey, Hunter, Charger, and a Spitter for this last hit for Team EVO, managing to land the pound spit outside, the Charger getting it down inside as well, and that is going to be the wipe onto Bathtub Swimmers from that Jockey landing in turn as well. But like I said, they only lose out on 7 points of that map in terms of distance. They had no bonus to deal with. The SI hits have done a tremendous amount of work, and now EVO are in position to where if they can take this horde at the event fairly well, they could match that or potentially even beat it depending on how that outside tank goes. I would say that's probably one of the most favorable tanks for a team playing with high ping, just due to the fact that everything is outside, unless of course Team Bathtub Swimmers decides to turn that into a rock tank. We'll see if they do that or not, and exactly how Team EVO are doing when they get there, but I want to really see what Bathtub Swimmers are going to do with this opening hit as well, because if they can get a Spitter onto that fire escape, that could be extremely deadly. Waiting on one member of Team EVO to ready up, but it looks as though the SI are going to be positioned to send this hit in with the Boomer potentially early depending on where they're going. They may even decide to hit with that like beforehand. If it lands a single boom, that might slow EVO down, but I wouldn't be surprised to see EVO take the choke with the same speed that we saw Team Bathtub Swimmers do it, because they only took a bit of damage off that, and you really can't afford, when your ping is between 181 and 254, to have a spit on that ladder. That would be just absolutely catastrophic, even if it were just free spit. So let's see what Team EVO are able to do to stop that from happening, and let's see what Team Bathtub Swimmers decides on their special infected side. Charger, Smoker, Boomer, and a Hunter for this hit coming up from them. And Boomer hasn't sacked yet, so they might be deciding to... Well, actually, it looks like he's going for an arc boom now. But they might even be able to get a decent hit on them when they cross the dumpster instead of waiting for the fire escape, just because they don't have that Spitter, kind of like I just mentioned. But it looks as though the Boomer is repositioning at the same time. EVO taking it as slow as possible, and the hit is going to go in now. The Charger rockets off and does manage to get a scratch, but that is a pin onto Zoe in the front from that Hunter, plus a Smoker going in as well. Double boom hitting in the back, and I like the choice by Team Bathtub Swimmers, getting a decent amount of damage on that hit. Great pounce outside to capitalize on that separation from Zoe, as the survivors now are going to work their way forward. Probably going to have to deal with another hit inside before they push outside again, and this time there should be a Spitter in the queue, and indeed there it is in the hands of Presto for the Bathtub Swimmers' next hit. Charger, Hunter, Jockey, Spitter is an amazing hit for inside. Hunter might be looking to wall kick here, and it's going to be WSND pushing their way up top, trying to clear, and EVO are going to be playing it as slow as possible, as that Hunter is going to land onto Zoe once again. Jockey does get dead stopped and shut down, but the Charger gets a stumble onto Zoe. That is one survivor already needing to pop pills to stay fast prior to the event. Great job by our friends, the Bathtub Swimmers, to get that amount of damage, of course, on their home server. And honestly, these inside areas are going to be a strict challenge for teams with higher ping. There's really no room for error there because you're already playing with a couple of milliseconds delay, and I expect EVO to stay in this room almost as long as possible. Smoker Pole does get on the front, Jockey landing as well, and the Hunter's going in for jumping scratches at the same time, almost getting Zoe in capped. She's down to 14 HP, but also is not going to pop her pills prior to this horde being dealt with. And since the horde is having a little bit of a hard time getting in, actually, because off that boom, these commoners trying to climb the window, and they're not really trickling down as fast as you would expect. So this is a pretty easy event to deal with, especially inside this room, but this next hit's going to be coming in already with that pull landing with a pounce trying to land as well, and the Charger's going to go in. The spit spreads all the way across the room and manages to get the down onto Zoe. So there's one in cap prior to the tank just from this event so far. And now EVO are actually going to decide to push this, despite the fact that I think there is still Horde coming in. I mentioned the Horde being outside, and it's still there. This is really, really risky to be doing with this kind of high ping, I would say. They're already seeing common damage now go on to Bill, but luckily I think they timed it just right, and they're going to be able to stand on top of this roof. But there is a jockey going out onto Francis, who almost gets pulled over the edge, but he does not ledge hang there, so that is unfortunate for the Special Infected, as that Boomer is also going to whiff. I don't expect to see a death charge here or anything kind of like that, even though they have the higher ping. Maybe I'm going to reverse curse them in terms of what the caster can say, but like I said, just that Hunter is going to be up. Now the Charger is going to be going from the roof, as we're going to see the tank spawn for Team Bathtub Swimmers into the hands of Hydro himself. He has a tall order here just due to the fact that this tank is easily kiteable as the survivors are outside, and we're going to need to see Special Infected coordination similar to what EVO did. As this hit goes in, tank is going to transition to the roof. That's going to be a charge going out as that Hunter was also quickly cleared. Jockey lands, and the Rock is going to go in and barely miss Bill over the top of that air conditioning unit, and EVO seemed to be trying to get chip on the tank from an extremely long distance with these distance Uzis, and it actually might be a decent call because they're not going to be LOSing whatsoever. But Hydro doing a good job of mitigating the chip, moving back and forth, trying to hide on that roof as well, and he still has sight. Bill is all the way back across the dumpster trying to get chip on this tank. Hunter's gonna go in, managing to land. A single boom does go out as well. Smoker does get a repull now onto Lewis, as the Rock is not going to land. I am really, really curious as to what EVO's plan here is aside from chipping this tank, but I don't know if it's exactly worth it right now because Zoe's bleeding out, already committing 2 sets of pills, and the tank is just taking more damage. I think this is a fair trade for the SI at this point, honestly, because you can still commit that tank with what, like 4.5k, 5k HP, and probably still get something good, and that's exactly what Hydro is going to be doing as he's working his way forward. Now, and the survivors are backing up on the probably the most dangerous area in the entire part of the map. His death charge can land here, a death pull can land here, and the tank can also home run someone off the side. Hydro is going to be going in. Jockey manages to land, and this is really, really precarious for Lewis as he's right near that edge. And there is the death punch going out onto him. As I just mentioned, I have questions for EVO based on this strategy, and there's a climb punch landing from that ladder. Hunter goes out as well. Rock is gonna go out now onto Francis, who he was ledge hung for a second and then got unledge hung for whatever reason, and that's gonna be 1 survivor dead and 2 already slow for the rest of this map. Zoe shooting off the ledge onto Lewis's dead body as well, just to emphasize the point. And I think ammo might be a real question for EVO in this scenario. They're going to try to get as many distance points as they can, but their goal of making the safe room with 4 survivors is obviously impossible after that, just because they were on the one part of the map where the death punches are the easiest to land. Boomer and Spitter both going to get shut down there. Smoker Pole does go out in the back with some spit on top of that as well. That's going to be Fantasy in cap for the first time in this chapter, but honestly, it might seem like that death punch was bad for EVO, and it kind of was, but this is still good for them to make up a good part of this distance just due to how they limited Team Bathtub Swimmers on their Special Infected side. Again, it's hard to say because, I mean, when you're playing with this high ping, you can take what you can get, but that Charger is going to get hurt and is now going to miss Francis as that Hunter lands onto Zoe in the front. Boomer also got shut down, and it's just the Spitter now left in the queue as we're going to see Fantasy commit these pills. They are still working their way forward, and each point of distance that they make gets them closer to the 600 points of distance that we saw Bathtub Swimmers make it with. So this is a good showing by EVO on this second map so far. Spitter, Jockey, and a Smoker for the next hit, along with a Boomer. So it's that 2-2, not ideal since they don't have the Hunter or the Charger, but we'll see exactly what they're able to make work as this Smoker is going to try to pull in the back, not going to land, however. Spit's going to go down as well. Single Boom also landed, and right now Zoe is taking a fair amount of damage in that Spit because they both tried to jump on the railing, and it was just completely impossible for 2 survivors to be up there. So that is going to knock Zoe now into the black and white range as this Smoker and Bill are having this epic standoff behind the cubicles up here, and that is going to be a self-script. There's a Charger going in now onto Bill, getting the land and also the in-cap. EVO They're going to work their way back up the stairs. This Boomer's going to land now onto Zoe. This is kind of pandemonium now on their survivor side with just that Hunter still left in the queue on the right-hand room there, trying to maybe delay this pickup. And now the Hunter is going to be bouncing out, going for Zoe down below, and is going to land that. That is going to be another death, and this appears to be the end of EVO in the cubicles here. However, gotta mention it again, that is only a 170-point advantage for Team Bathtub Swimmers on their home server, and this is still quite a close game going into map 3. So overall, not ideal in terms of the death punch, but EVO have to be pretty happy with how they're looking going into the second half of this game. And of course, now it's going to be a quick question to both teams, right, where this tank is going to spawn, because if either team takes this inside in whatever way, it's going to be detrimental to them. You don't want to play against the tank with long arms, and you don't want to be a person with 250 ping doing with the tank at the same time. But map 3 is a bit more favorable, except it is the 27% tank. So that means this is going to spawn pretty much when they go over the plank in front, if I remember correctly. Because what are they at? They're already at 10% distance. I haven't seen a team try to take it near the safe room in a very long time, but this could be a very, very hectic tank fight on both sides, just because there is a dumpster that is close to the survivors right as they're crossing, and because they might be able to send an SI hit as the survivors are trying to make their way out. But first, we're going to be seeing this hit for Team EVO be a Jockey, Hunter, Charger, and a Spitter. Let's see how they decide to send it. That Hunter is kind of just hanging by the wall and not doing a massive amount of anything, but the Charger and Spitter are positioned to where they are a bit behind. And yeah, that was actually a question I was going to have. That Hunter seems to have either disconnected or had some kind of internet issue, maybe. I was waiting to see it try to go to the roof, maybe get a damage pounce, maybe bounce around, but none of that has happened as of yet. EVO Fantasy saying full, I'm not exactly sure. Ah, there we go. Okay. So now that they've actually crashed out of the game, that player will be able to rejoin, and hopefully we see both teams wait until they're in a decent position, because this first hit can be really, really deadly on both sides. It's obviously easier to handle if you have lower ping, but it looks as though EVO now are just going to be readying it up. They could also just rocket all the special infected and still do a great amount of damage, just based on the fact they have that Charger rocketing plus that Spitter ready. And now they are going to call ready, because it looks as though the Hunter has gotten their spawn back, potentially, but he's still standing. He's still standing directly in front of the safe room door. Now he's moving. Okay, we should be good. Jockey's going to pre-spawn in the front as well, on top of the air conditioning unit. That's going to be the rockets coming in from the back. Jockey's going to land. Charger looking for it, and actually taking the survivor who was jockeyed forward through spit for a decent amount of damage there. Even though the charge didn't complete, the lack of those God frames did do a bit of damage onto Spirit, and now this is going to be the survivors pushing their way forward. No safe room ideas, thankfully, because that would have to be just a bit earlier. They're going to manage to climb their way up to the top here, and this is going to be the tank spawn, I think, prior to the event, and indeed, there it is. This tank's going to be up for Team EVO into the hands of T. Ima. Hunter Skeet going out. We do see a brief attempt at a smoker pull for just a bit more damage, but this tank is going to be getting all the dumpsters that it possibly can into play here prior to this event going out as well. That one does get knocked in, and the tank is going to be climbing all the way up to the roof, but not quite keeping sight on the survivors from above them, on the same level almost as the platform that they're on. Probably going to be looking for a hit to either transition up to the other roof or just to go in with this. Boomer, Jockey, Charger for this special infected hit. Let's see what they decide to do with it, because the survivors are positioning themselves quite well. Two people down below with Uzis trying to just rail this tank as much as possible. Boomer is going to die. Hittable is going to be going up and falling to the side there, as the tank has two other dumpsters to play with now, but no SI support aside from this Jockey. It's 4 dumpsters total because of the one that he brought in from the other side. So the survivors are going to have to be quite careful when it comes to this tank fight. They can't just be kiting randomly backwards into things. They have to play really, really, really safe when it comes to the hittables, because that is obviously the best way for the tank to get damage in this area, but the tank also doesn't want to tunnel them. It could be another situation like we saw last map, looking for some kind of 3-cap in the meantime, but actually this is going to be T. Ima dropping with a hittable going right up top in front of Lewis and Bill's faces. The survivors underneath are in a better position to deal with this. That dumpster is going to go to the back of the concrete pillars. Tank still has 4.5k HP here, and the survivors are cutting this as well as possible. Tank missing a punch. Boomer trying to go in, but T. Ima is a little bit caught out here, not able to get a punch onto the survivors as of yet. Rotating back down below, missing that punch as well. Boomer not landing, but there's a punch going out. That is going to be a 1-punch tank going out right there. shut down completely by Bathtub Swimmers. That is exactly what they needed on their home server. Those hittables were so close trying to hit the survivors up top, but they used the stilt supporting that tower to kite the hittables around, and there was no way for them to get around that obstacle. So great job by Bathtub Swimmers. They have the entire map in front of them right now, and they have the entire horde coming at them with one SI hit. Really, I mean, they could decide to blitz this if the survivors decide to hit here. That jockey is also going to die. Smoker not able to get anything. Charger YOLOing it in, and that is going to be a full SI hit up, down, and dealt with for Bathtub Swimmers. And indeed, they are going to be letting the horde just kind of trickle in from behind them. They have the low ping. They know there's no hit. It's just a spitter in the queue to get any kind of damage right here. EVO a little bit on their heels now on the North American server just because of that shutdown. Now, honestly, that could easily have gone completely the opposite direction for the survivors, but they managed to deal with it quite well. This is going to be a tri-boom going in. Hunter coming in from the back with a jockey. That's going to be a skeet going out by Hydro onto that Hunter, and the Spitter's just going to throw the free spit down in front. Absolutely no damage from it, though, as it's going to go respawn. The survivors are full Wing through this map now because they know they don't have a massive amount of obstacles left. This hit in the room might be kind of scary, but it really depends on if there's a charger. It's going to be a Smoker charger and a Boomer, so a 2-2 with the potential for a charged spit. Smoker spawning outside. Survivors are not even going to try to kill it. They're going to keep moving their way forward right to this next entranceway as there's going to be this charger spawning in the bathroom, it would seem. They're going to bait this, though, and this is probably one of the last dangerous hits they have to deal with aside from maybe a rocket spawn near the garage. Charger is going to go in, trying to land it, not going to get it though. Free spit does go in, does a bit of damage onto Lewis, but Hydro gets directly out of the way, and now it's just a Boomer and a Smoker left for this next hit from Team EVO. Boomer's going to spawn up, get M2'd and shut down, and honestly, they're pretty out of rhythm right now when it comes to their special infected. That Boomer dies. I don't know if you're looking for a quad attempt here, but the recent hits really haven't been on the same page, it would seem. They've been trying to get whatever damage they possibly can, but that Charger didn't have a chance of landing. We've had a jockey and a Hunter get blown out of the sky, and there it's going to happen again with that Hunter being skeeted by Spirit this time. Jockey shut down and Smoker shut down as well. This is a beautiful map from Team Bathtub Swimmers on Survivor side. They are still holding 100% of the damage bonus, 100% of the pills, and 73.2% of that health bonus. So this is a massive health bonus for them. They only really have a hit and a half to deal with. It's a Charger, Spitter, Boomer, and a Hunter for Team EVO here. They're looking to go in the stairwell, it would seem, with that Charger looking to maybe, you know, come from directly in front of the survivors or maybe a little bit on the side. This has to be a good hit from the special infected to even get some of this bonus down, because right now it is a massive map for Bathtub Swimmers. They know that as well. That's why you've got Hydro baiting in the front. That Boomer's going to drop down. Imagine to get a double boom, and the Charger is going to go up top, landing on the Hydro with a spit going down on top of that, with the Hunter landing on another one of the survivors, and that does help Team EVO's case, but only somewhat, because still got the entirety of the damage bonus, but that Death Spit doing a bit of damage to Francis at the same time. That was really the only coordinated hit that did a good amount of damage on this map to Team Bathtub Swimmers, aside from the first one right out of the safe room, and that's going to bring their total score to 2,877 points through the first 3 maps of Dead Air on their home server. This is where EVO need to really survive this tank, because they should be looking to get at least the distance points on this map to stay close on the away game. They did a decent job of that the first 2 maps, but this is going to be tough for them, I'd say, with that tank. But, you know, it is possible for them to kite the hittables around the same way Bathtub Swimmers did, but it really has a large chance of doing a massive amount of damage. That's the only way I can put it, if not some kind of catastrophe with somebody dying or multiple hittables landing. So they got to be real careful now, especially with that high ping. You can be juking hittables and think you get away from it, but then they can clip you because your hitbox is completely different when you have that high a latency to deal with. Let's see how they do on the survivor side now. It's going to be Presto's tank for Team Bathtub Swimmers. That first hit, once again, Jockey, Charger, Hunter, and a Spitter. Everything looking to come from up top because those rocket spawns are usually good. Hunter's going to wall kick off the side. The Charger's going to go and landing a beautiful double cap with that Hunter in spit. That is exactly what you see in terms of damage potential on that first hit, getting already over just about close to 70 damage actually from it, with that double cap landing spit directly on top of it. That really could not have gone much worse for Team EVO or much better for Team Bathtub Swimmers. The Jockey did get shut down but that is going to be nice pre-tank damage as the survivors are going to be working their way towards the scaffolding. Let's see how Team Bathtub Swimmers decide to hit this, because that boomer is going to land a single boom. Smoker was the tank, so that's going to be shut down. The hunter lands on Lewis for a couple seconds, and Presto is going to be trying to get this dumpster over the barricade, managing to get it, and there's a charge going out as well by Sue on to, that was Zoe, and for just about 10 damage. But again, you see the pinners landing now for Team Bathtub Swimmers on the hits that they've gotten, and honestly, Presto could play this a bit long if he wanted to. He's going to want to transition out of where he is right now, though, because he's on a roof that doesn't have a whole lot of sight, and that's easy for those distance Uzis to do a decent amount of work. Smoker, Jockey, and Boomer for the next hit for Team Bathtub Swimmers. Let's see what they decide to do with it. I think Presto's going to look to transition now. Indeed, he is. Going to the fire escape. This could be the commit, depending on how he plays these hittables. Knocking the dumpsters up into their faces. That's going to be on the opposite roof. That dumpster is going to go flying up, landing on the scaffolding next to the survivors. Now he has 2 more that he's playing with, but he's down to 4.6k HP. Now backing up, climbing up to the roof. This will probably be the commit hit they have to deal with, and EVO know they're trying to get this tank down as much as possible before the commit. That dumpster goes flying straight over Francis's head. That one is also not going to land. Presto's down to 2.6k HP, still looking for that first punch onto Lewis. A single boom does go out. Pole goes out as well. There is no dumpster over here, but he's managing to get the multis now onto Bill and Lewis. Still 1.7k HP. Jockey landing, Smoker going in, not managing to find a land as the tank is getting a corner onto Fantasy. There's a Smoker pole going out as well. Presto doing work on the Team EVO right now as the special infected did just get cleared. That's going to be a dead tank. No wipe going out, but a great amount of damage from both Presto and his special infected hit on that tank. Team Bathtub Swimmers capitalizing on a bit of that separation and getting 2 pulls for corners there for their tank. Hunter gets blown out of the sky by WSND, and I mean, they're going to have one person slow, I'm pretty sure, for this, because WSND is at 44 HP, bleeding out, and this next hit really could put them in an awkward spot, because I don't think they can blitz the event with one person slow and the ping that they've got. They could, but I don't know if that's in their best interest, honestly, just because, like, it's a catch-22 for them. They can either sit here and bleed out more, which they're going to, or they could try to take an extremely dangerous choke with at least one person slow. And the hit that Team Bathtub Swimmers have got right now, it's a Charger, Jockey, Smoker, and a Spitter. So this is really damned if you do, damned if you don't for Team EVO. And I think they're just going to decide to hold the pills, kill the Horde, and then hopefully navigate this alleyway without taking like 1 or 2 in-caps, depending on what this hit does. It's similar to the first hit, too, in the way that they can just rocket spawns down onto the survivors. And when you're playing with high ping, it's a lot harder to react to SI spawns that go that fast in this rotation. So rest of the Horde dying off, EVO doing a good job of just spacing themselves out. They're aware that they're going to have a monster of a hit to take as they work through the alley, and that bleed's going out still on Fantasy and also WSND, down to 26 perm in terms of Lewis right now, and it's not helping that Fantasy 2 is bleeding out, and any kind of damage that goes out on this hit, you can see 2 or 3 survivors slow with still a lot of map to take. EVO working their way through the alley now as most of the common are dead. Let's see when Team Bathtub Swimmers decides to send this hit. There are a couple good options for them, and I think they're waiting for the second turn that the survivors have to take as they go down this path. Really delicate situation for the survivors. Let's see if they're able to shut anything down here, or if it's going to be another multi-cap like we saw on the first hit. Charger's looking to rocket right now, going in. Pull and charge going out on the same survivor. That's going to be a spit spread that also goes out onto Francis, and a Jockey gets a rejock in the front. Sue's Jockey literally has 1 HP. Okay, that is the closest you could possibly get to killing a Jockey and still not being able to do so. We saw the death charge, I think it was in the Stuck in Rotation in Babylonia game. That Charger had 10 HP, and that Jockey we just saw had 1, getting a full in-cap out onto T-Ima, with the survivors actually splitting up pretty decently now. Charger's going to go in onto Lewis, getting the down. There's also a boom going out in front, with a Hunter looking to find Zoe. EVO are not staying together right now. This is something that on the high ping, you know, they might be figuring with their health. They just need to eke out as many distance points as they can, but you don't like to see teams getting that split up. Nobody's going to be black and white, however, so EVO are going to be able to keep making their way through this map, at least for the time being, with still, I think, 1 or 2 sets of pills to find. So they're not completely dead yet, but they're almost as close as they could be as they keep working their way forward. Again, the distance points really helping them out here. We're going to see how things go on their home server as well, but Team Bathtub Swimmers have done a great job now to get the lead that they have. It's still about 1,600 points, and they have another good hit to send as the survivors are going to be working their way forward. Boomer goes out, gets a single boom. Charger going for punches on Francis for the in cap. Spit goes out with a boomer landing on Zoe's head, then proxying her as well. That's going to put 2 survivors for EVO, T-Ima and Zoe, black and white, with just 1 set of pills there. But I think already WSND has taken the pills, and he wasn't even black and white. So I'm not exactly sure what that's about. EVO's still just trying to go and get as much distance as possible, but someone's probably going to die in the next hit, if not the entire team, because it is a quad cap for Bathtub Swimmers, Hunter, Smoker, Jockey, and a Charger for this next hit. Plus, there are lots of common outside. This is, again, perilous for EVO, as they might be trying to make their way over the airplane wing. They really have to pay attention to these rocket spawns. Plus, this Wandering Horde could very easily grab one of them and make it easier for the SI to get any kind of hit that they want here. We have 1 survivor in Fantasy already at 1 HP. Charger is going to miss, but then getting punches onto Francis. That's a full death onto T-Ima, and that other in-cap is going to put Fantasy at black and white as well. So of the 3 survivors left, 2 are black and white, and then WSND is at, 50 HP, probably going to be holding W at some point in the near future as they work their way towards this plane wing, shooting the common from the luggage there, the luggage stacks, but the real threat's going to be the SI from the front and this Wandering Horde around the alarm car. I don't know if Zoe has any ammo left. Hunter going in, managing to land onto her. Jockey in the front. That's going to be the wipe onto EVO from Bathtub Swimmers with that Hunter Jockey double cap. That is more what you expect from Team Bathtub Swimmers on their home server, this map in particular. Let's see if they can replicate that on map 4, because if they're able to build on this lead at all, it's already over 1,500 points. They could be putting EVO in a really tough position going to that second game. And of course, the same thing that we've said the past 3 maps, right, of where is the tank going to spawn. This, if it spawns in the offices, could be really, really tough for EVO to deal with on the survivor side once again. We saw those rocket hits really doing a good amount of damage onto them in that last map, and indeed it's going to be the office tank at 22%. So, there's 1 or 2 spots here, I think, that work better than others, depending on what room Team Bathtub Swimmers are going to decide to take this. I mean, EVO, while they're going to be hard-pressed to survive this in the next half of this map, right, they do have 1 advantage here with that ping, and of course it's going to be the long arms in a room, depending on where Bathtub Swimmers go. They might even decide to take it in the safe room, but that would be really, really, really risky depending on what the SI hit is. So we'll see what they decide to do after this first hit. It's going to be a Charger, Jockey, Spitter, and that Smoker, I believe it is. Indeed it is. As the Jockey's going to go in now, trying to get a land. Charger's going to go in, almost landing onto Bill. Spit's going to go down on top of that as well, dealing some damage to Hydro, but nothing really to write home about. And here's the tank already for Team EVO into the hands of YNW Melly. I don't know if that's their actual name. I'm sorry if I can't pronounce that, but we're going to go with W Melly at this point, and Team EVO are going to be looking to get a wipe from this tank. Definitely doable, especially if they manage to land a boom here, but the survivors are indeed going to take it close to the safe room area. Boomer's going to get proxied on to Presto by Spirit. That's going to cause a bit of horde to come in. It's a Jockey and a Hunter for the other 2 supports, but this tank is staying all the way out in the offices, trying not to take any kind of chip at this point. I don't know. In the safe room, they're going to have to body block as much as possible, maybe at the door, and then they're going to have 3 pinners coming in at them as well, and it's going to depend on whether or not this tank can get any kind of multi-punch for this, but there's the setup that they want. Charger, Jockey, and Hunter. Jockey already pre-spawned on the side. Tank is still going to be at 4.4k HP, missing his first punch, however, and missing another punch, actually, onto Lewis. Tank climbing up top, hasn't gotten anything yet, but there's the double going out. There's the Jockey landing along with the Hunter. That Hunter still is not clear. Onto Zoe. Jockey's going to die. The tank is at 750 HP, getting another punch onto Zoe, and that looked almost catastrophic for a couple of seconds there for Bathtub Swimmers, but that tank missed his first 2 punches in the safe room, unfortunately. Might have something to do with the ping arms there, but either way, Bathtub Swimmers take about 2.5 in caps on that. 3 people bleeding because the pills have already been committed onto Spirit as well, and they only have 1 set left. Boomer spawns up, does get shut down. I mean, that was essentially a tie, I'd say, because that area is really, really tough to avoid taking that much damage in, I would say, as that smoker does die in the back and the spit goes down on nothing. I'm not sure if EVO are going to decide to take it in the same spot. It's probably the worst type of best possible, honestly, in that area, because there's really no good spot to fight that tank in the offices against a team with that high ping, I'll say that much. And we'll see exactly how that impacts them on Survivor side next half. Meanwhile, Bathtub Swimmers are still making their way through this map fairly well, as this jockey's going to be bouncing around trying to find a land. Hunter does get skeeted, Charger goes in and gets instantly cleared as well. 0.00 seconds going out in terms of that insta-clear, and now Survivors are going to decide to hold W, except Spirit is a little bit trapped in the back due to that common, so pills are going to be passed. They know they have to make quick work of this. Hydro is already all the way in the front, killing the second wave of Horde that spawns right when you pass that advertisement of, let's see what it is. Oh yeah, the get up close and personal with the aquarium thing. That is something that now they're going to be able to deal with much of the Horde coming from the back. And the next hit's going to go in at the same time. Jockey's going to land. Hunter's going to take that target with a spit going down on top of it. Jockey's going to die. Smoker pull does go out quickly onto Lewis, and that Smoker has 5 HP left. They're looking to get one of these Survivors slow, but it might be Presto as he's bleeding out, because he's at 45 HP right now. And of course, in Zone Mod, there is no second Horde when you go through the metal detectors, so it's going to be all about these SI hits from EVO now to get as much damage as they possibly can. Boomer, Hunter, Charger, and the last spawn is going to be a Jockey for this hit. Boomer's going to spawn up in the back, not getting anything from behind the luggage there, as the rest of the spawns are setting up in front. Charger rocketing its way in, looking to land but not quite finding it. Hunter getting blown out of the sky by Sue. Great skeet there, and the Boomer's going to get popped. That's going to be very, very close to safe room, except I think there will be one more hit just due to Presto being slow, unless they find a random last-second set of pills, which I do not think they're going to. They're still holding about 23.7% of the health bonus and 41.2 of DB, so not a bad round whatsoever, especially if they can get the wipe onto EVO here on their special infected side. Last hit's going to be a Hunter, Smoker, Charger, and a Spitter for Team EVO as they're going to work this way. And Hunter going for the wall kick. Smoker pull does go out. That is a nice double cap landing with the stick going down, unfortunately in the safe room for Team EVO. So that was not what they were looking for in terms of that spit spread, unfortunately for them. But Bathtub Swimmers are going to get inside and bring their total score for their home server to 3,597 points. Not too shabby whatsoever, especially considering that puts them about 2.2k in front of EVO, and if EVO wipe up this safe room, that is a nice score to have going into the second half of this game on the Chinese home server for EVO. Let's see if Team Bathtub Swimmers are able to get this crucial wipe right here, or if Team EVO are going to be able to take it potentially in the safe room again, just by trying to body block and shredding that tank on its way in. We saw them play extremely aggressively for Chip on the second chapter tank, and they might have to do the same here just to guarantee them surviving this with that ping disparity that we see. And honestly, I'm not expecting to see Bathtub Swimmers tank with any punches in the safe room. I think that really was a product of ping on the last half, but let's see if there's going to be any kind of juking going out here. Jockey's going to get shot. Charger's going to go in, managing to land a double charge right near the safe room. The spit goes down that as well, and it's going to spread everywhere as that Jockey also latches onto Lewis for a great amount of damage on that first hit, kind of similar to what we saw happen last map when Bathtub Swimmers rocketed the spawns in. They didn't need any kind of rockets there. They just got over 80 damage easily on that, almost 90 as a matter of fact, and it looks as though Team EVO now are going to be looking to get some kind of ship on this tank that is up for Bathtub Swimmers into the hands of Spirit. Double boom is going to land from Sue right there, and the tank is very, very close to committing, but now it's going to take some damage as he backs out around the corner. I don't think they're going to be committing with that Horde, because it's definitely difficult for that Horde to get into the safe room there, since it's all coming from one direction, and also quite delayed from what we can see. I hear the common, but I don't see them. I think the Horde's still somewhere down the hallway or something, probably getting lost, but the 3 cap is obviously better in this situation. So it's going to be a Charger, Hunter, and a Jockey. That's probably what they're going to commit with, and indeed, Spirit is going to be working his way in, and we have a tactical pause. See the question coming out in Survivor Chat as well. If it's a tactical pause, maybe it is, maybe it's not, but I don't know. That was just a very quick pause, as we mentioned. The Charger actually spawns by the safe room door underneath the other survivors, who are now getting multi-punched in the safe room by the tank. Francis is outside, also getting capped. Zoe's going for the clear, and then is going to get jockeyed, but Spirit, still with almost 4k HP, is going to be locking up the home server here for Team Bathtub Swimmers. That's going to cause the GH to go out, and that's going to be just over a 2,194 point lead for Team Bathtub Swimmers going into the next half of this match. So that's a mountain definitely for EVO to climb, but it's definitely doable for them as well, depending on how that ping disparity is looking once we get over there. We'll see exactly how that is in just a couple of minutes, but a great job by Bathtub Swimmers to really maximize the second half of that game on map 3 and map 4. You know, their tank play finally got into rhythm, I would say, and they were able to really rely on special infected support just to get a great amount of damage and the eventual wipe on that 4th chapter tank. That's why when I saw EVO take it in the safe room, they left 3 people up top, right, to try to chip the tank, and then the charger spawned at the safe room door because the survivors were all up top and not able to proxy block him to get that initial charge onto the shotgun. So that is a great amount of work by Team Bathtub Swimmers, and they look poised to really pull off the upset here since they're only 3 seeds down to Team EVO 7. You know, 10 seed versus 7 seed is going to be close. I know the predictions in chat were close as well, and anybody riding on EVO, you're going to need to see a hell of a performance on Survivor and Special Infected side. They can definitely do it, but it's going to be tough. We are now finding our way to that Chinese server, so just give us a few seconds to set that up. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and this is going to be the second game of 2 between teams EVO and Bathtub Swimmers. It's just about a 2,100 point lead for Team Bathtub Swimmers, coming from the North American server now to the Chinese server, Aces Playground. Team EVO's home. They're going to be having between 16 and 44 ping, versus Team Bathtub Swimmers are all in the 200s, but not amazingly high. It's 202 to 238 for those interested. They've already set the tank spawn here to go early, and I'm expecting to see a strong showing from Team EVO on this first map, and really this entire campaign on their home server. They managed to make map 1 and then most of the distance points on map 2, and then it was utter domination for Bathtub Swimmers, as we just saw. So they're going to have to do something similar to that, trying to maximize those bonuses and kill these tanks in short order. We are just waiting for Fantasy from Team EVO to ready up, and then we'll be able to take this live once again. 30% tank is going to be in the safe room. It's much harder to play with that higher ping, but if there's any team that can do it, it's Bathtub Swimmers on that SI. Let's see how things go. EVO on Survivor, Bathtub Swimmers on Special Infected. Instantaneous tank spawn as that charger is going to charge on the roof and die. Spit goes down on nothing, and the tank is up into the hands of Sue himself for Bathtub Swimmers. Rotating already, trying not to take any kind of chip, going over to that ladder to the right in the same way that he did on the first map tank we saw on the North American server, but it's going to depend on this SI support. Jockey's going to spawn up, getting M2'd and shut down. They're trying to get as much damage as they can onto the tank. Bill looked like he was ready to actually run outside for a second just to shoot the tank a bit, but has decided to back up now to be with the rest of his teammates. Boomer in this area is decent, and that's what Team Bathtub Swimmers look to be committing with. It's a Boomer, Smoker, and one more spawn coming into queue. That's going to be the Charger. The Boomer is going to spawn up top and die, so no, it won't be the commit hit, but a late sack, as Sue is already down to 80% on his second pass. He's going to be trying to keep any kind of residual sight that he can from these survivors who are perched way up top, and he's gonna have to commit right before that spawn is up, so it's gonna be either a hunter or a jockey as he works his way inside. Early pull attempt is gonna land onto Bill. That should be a corner, but Sue missing his second punch there, missing a third punch as well. Smoker pull goes out now, and Bill gets knocked away. Rest of the SI support are going to come in from the front. Another punch missing onto Bill, and another punch now managing to land. Hunter lands up top, single down, right now as Sue is down to 700 HP, but lands a beautiful rock onto Francis up top, and he's now going to be pushing Lewis along with the charger, but it's just going to be that one in cap, and that was a case again of the high ping having a detrimental impact to Tank's ability to hit punches at close range. It looked like a couple of them might have landed, but the thing is, when you're playing with that high ping, it can be so inconsistent to land Tank punches, and we saw that happen to EVO on the North American server, and unfortunately for Bathtub Swimmers, we saw it right there. But Team EVO now going to be working their way to what is really the most dangerous choke, I would say, on this map. You can argue it's the plank as well if someone gets pulled off, but this is Death Charge Central here, especially if they're able to land it. But they actually don't have a charger at all on the side of Team Bathtub Swimmers. It's a Spitter, a Jockey, Boomer, and a Hunter, so a 2-2 for the latter. This is going to be Bill working his way to the top. Boomer's going to try to land the Arc Boom. Nothing going, however. Hunter spawns up as well and is going to land for a split second, but then the Spit's going to go onto Bill instead of the Pounce target as that Jockey also gets cleared. So a bit of damage going out onto both Francis and Bill there, but no Pounce Spit to maximize that. And now EVO are going to be holding their W keys, working their way to the outside, and honestly, they're going to just charge their way into the safe room, I'm fairly sure. It's a smoker up for the Special Infected, landing onto Zoe, but getting instantly cleared. Charger is in the spawn rotation, but is not able to find a spawn except by climbing up to top right there, and they are just a step behind EVO as EVO make it to the safe room. 768 points on this first map for them. That is very, very similar to what we saw Bathtub Swimmers get on the North American server, but now the question is going to be, is Team EVO going to manage to get the wipe on Bathtub Swimmers in this safe room area? It's possible, but it needs either a multi-boom or a multi-cap, I would say. That smoker on the last half did a great job of setting up the tank twice, and that same strategy might be employed now by EVO, but it's really, really, really going to depend on the survivor's positioning too. So with this high ping, it's very, very easy to get, you know, a surprise Hunter to the face or a Charger landing up top, and you can't juke it as well as you would when you're playing with that green ping, of course. And anything could really happen in this kind of safe room area when survivors are on this ping. I don't know if we're going to see someone get separated in the safe room or something like that, but we're going to see what EVO are going to pull out on this first hit as we are live once again. Loving the fast ready-ups between both of these teams, and 1 through 4 of Dead Air also going decently well. It's going to be a full hit going in right now with that Jockey and Hunter looking for a pin onto Lewis in the front. The Charger is also going to die, and a bit of spit damage went out as well, just for the heck of it. The tank is up in the hands of Melly for Team EVO, and it looks as though he's going to maybe be taking the fire escape, or at least he thought about it, but that's going to make him take a good deal of chip if he tries to go for it from those distance Uzis. You can already see Hydro all the way in the front, trying to get as much chip as he possibly can on the tank who is hiding behind that radiator. It's a Boomer, Jockey, and a Smoker for this hit, and the tank is going to be rotating. There's the pull going out with the boom going onto that as well, and then the Jockey landing onto Zoe, so everything going onto Sue for just a bit of damage, plus that horde, and the tank has taken just over 400 chip, making his way to that roof, and now he's going to be looking to keep a bit more sight. He's on first pass at 85%, and the survivors can chip him by going on top of those beams right outside the safe room, but it looks as though they're just going to be giving him sight as this continues to happen here for the tank. It's a Smoker, Charger, and a Hunter. Not sure if he's going to look to commit with this, but the Smoker is, well, positioning in front as if it wants to get an early pull onto somebody. That Hunter's going to be on the left-hand side too, and the Charger's looking to go as well, so it's going to be a full hit going in with that Hunter managing to land for a bit of damage, but the Charger is not going in quite yet. It looks as though he's looking for a spawn behind that boiler or that radiator on the side there underneath the survivors, because that could be a pretty good hit, but now he's going to reposition because I think the survivors were blocking that and have also blocked the safe room. So good positioning so far from the survivors. Let's see if the infected decide to send it on this hit, because he wasn't looking for any kind of rock on that either. He is just keeping sight. Charger, Jockey, Boomer for the next hit for Team EVO, and it looks as though the tank is going to be just continuing to keep sight up top, maybe looking for another hit to go in, and indeed that Jockey's already spawned, making noise on top. Charger spawns as well. That is going to be the hit. Looks as though they might be trying to get the survivors out of the safe room or something. That Jockey does manage to land, however, onto Lewis for a decent amount of damage, and the rock now is going to go flying in, but will break on the greenhouse roof before anything else is able to happen. Tank is also now... Actually, this Boomer's going to spawn all the way up, walks in, and gets a single boom onto Bill. That might trigger the tank to rotate, and indeed it is. It's going to be a Hunter and a Smoker for the other two SI, but that horde has already been dealt with for the most part from what we can see. The Uzis are doing a great amount of focus onto that horde. and that is the best way to prevent any kind of damage from going in. But the tank now is on low second pass. Charger, Hunter, Smoker for this SI hit. One Hunter already bouncing around outside as the tank works his way in. There's the pull going out as well onto Zoe, and there's going to be a partial corner, at least for the moment, as Sue is going to get punched into that corner, but that's going to be the tank already down to 1500 HP. Hunter gets skeeted by Spirit. What an amazing skeet that was. The Charger is looking to land as well. Tank is going to be able to find Francis here for another couple hits, but very, very comparable damage on both of those tanks, and a great shot there by Spirit to prevent that Hunter pin as well. So this is Team Bathtub Swimmers looking to do even better than EVO did on the opposite server, but they're going to need to take another couple good hits here with that Spitter already in the spawn queue. It's going to be a Boomer, Jockey, Spitter, and one more spawn is going to be that Smoker. So no charge spit to deal with, no death charge threat, and that Jockey's going to go in, landing directly onto Zoe's head. As the spit goes down as well, the Boomer is going to get popped, and it looks as though that Smoker is just going to save. So this could be a potential quad cap attempt from EVO, maybe not even on the ladder, because the survivors could decide to push that right now, but they know one spawn is still up, plus they have common to clear. That's going to be Spirit pushing his way to the top, Zoe as well joining him up there, and that's going to be the Horde dealt with before the survivors are even under threat of this quad. But now here is the quad. Jockey, Hunter, Charger, and Smoker. Very, very dangerous hit as the survivors are working their way forward, thanks to that Spitter and Boomer sack that we saw. And this is going to depend on when Bathtub Swimmers drop, because it looks as though everything is coming from the roofs except for potentially the Jockey. But that would be needing the Jockey to land in the front onto Lewis there, while the rest of the hit comes in from the back. Zoe is standing up there blocking as much as possible. Now here comes the quad cap attempt. Smoker looking for something. Jockey's going to land. Hunter's going to land as well. And the Smoker is going to land too for a beautiful triple cap. Not the quad, but a decent amount of damage again going out. That was so close to the quad landing too. And that's going to be Bathtub Swimmers pushing their way into the safe room, I would think. Happy with the fact they obviously did not get wiped, and probably happier with the fact they're going to have comparable bonus to EVO on this first map. It's going to be 768 to 644, just a difference of 124 points this time. So EVO still going to be about, just about 2k, maybe 1.95k behind Bathtub Swimmers, and it's going to depend on the second map, because the second map we saw on the last server had a survivor getting death punch from EVO, moving back to fight the tank near the button or the lever to trigger the Horde prior to the dumpster instead of fighting it forward, which resulted in a lot of damage and one death punch. Still perilous for both sides due to the fact that those death charges exist almost everywhere, and that tank can get a death punch on the other area that the tank has fought as well. So it really depends on how both teams are going to play it here. They're going to set the tank spawn first as well, I imagine, and EVO are already readied up and raring to go. Hopefully they remember to set the tank percentage. That would be good. I'm just reminding them in case they haven't done it, and that actually was a good thing that I did, because they were about to go live with a 75% tank, which would not have been fun. So I think it was something at like 54% if I'm remembering correctly, and let me see if I can double check that, because they're asking what it was. Joys of adminning. Should be 58, yeah, from what I'm seeing. Yeah, so they should be able to set it to that. And once they do, we'll be able to go live. The first hit's going to be a 2-2 with the Hunter and Jockey for Team Bathtub Swimmers. Probably going to be looking to send that from the roof or sacking something for that fire escape hit. We'll see if they elect to do that or if they decide to send everything early, which actually they are, because that Hunter and that Spitter are prepared to hit right around the corner of these boxes as the survivors make their way out of the safe room. We'll see if that works for them or not, as EVO are going to leave the safe room now, looking to block to the back. Hunter's going to be bouncing around already, getting chipped and skied out of the sky. Jockey's going to go and get M2'd and shut down. Just the Boomer left, managing to land a single boom onto Francis, and a bit of spit damage, of course, coming out as well, because that's how Left 4 Dead 2 works in 2021. On this config, at least. And now the survivors will be able to climb their way up the ladder without any real resistance, which is going to be good for them. They're going to have to watch for this death charge in front. It's going to be a Charger, Smoker, Hunter, and a Spitter, so a good inside hit as well if they're deciding to go for damage versus the death. They are indeed going to go for damage. As that Hunter lands in front, Charger goes in and does manage to land with a pre-spit going out as well onto Fantasy, who's going to take a lot of damage from that hit. Very, very, very well played by Bathtub Swimmers, launching that Hunter and that Charger in the hallway, knowing that they can be just such great examples of damage on a map like this. And that is the huge difference, of course, when you're playing a Left 4 Dead 2 config on Dead Air versus Left 4 Dead 1. Those charge spits don't exist in Apex, and they don't exist in Left 4 Dead 1 either, of course. So they're going to maximize as much as they can here. That Jockey and that Hunter are going to get killed. Charger gets the lead as it goes in the room as well, and the Boomer again lands just a single boom onto Lewis. I'm not going to be surprised if we see EVO trying to play this even more aggressively to take advantage of their low ping, and that's Lewis standing all the way up top looking for any of the Horde as it comes in. But as usual, the Horde is going to be hit at the window by those bullets from the survivors shooting through the ceiling just to kill that without really a whole lot of effort, really. That's why this room is so good. But they're going to have to now deal with the Jockey, Smoker, Hunter, and Spitter again. Hunter bouncing around, managing to take the pull target, so it's a pull, pounce, and then a spit, though, that went over the survivor's head as that Jockey also lands for a bit, but still decent damage going out so far, and there's finally the Spitter kill going out from Francis at the very end of that. So we've got Dabface sitting at 60 HP, and we have Fantasy already slow at that 39. Plus the 76 HP on Evo Tiaima and also on Melly, who's at 80. So this is good spread so far, too, across the board. But I don't expect Evo to take this at the same spot they did on the last server. I'll be very, very surprised if they bring it back here at all. Smoker tries to spawn in the back, not getting much of anything. Charger's looking for a rocket from this window, clips the top of the window, and then goes in. Hunter does land for a split second onto Bill, but that is going to be all she wrote for that attack. And that should also allow Team EVO to move their way forward and get this tank spawned up. We'll see who has it for Bathtub Swimmers as the survivors push their way further into the building to clear Horde and then back out. It's going to be Spirit for Bathtub Swimmers with this tank. Let's see what he can make work. He's already working his way out of the building almost, but there's going to be survivors standing right there to chip him, and indeed, this I think is a better spot than the one that was elected last time by EVO. Tank is transitioning to the roof as a smoker pull goes out, and a single boom does manage to land. Smoker gets another repull onto Lewis for a split second before getting killed, and Spirit's going to enjoy the roof that he has now. He did take 10% chip from that rotation, which is a good job by EVO to make sure they get as much damage as they can. They also haven't taken any pills yet, so nobody's bleeding. All the chip on this tank is pretty much free, but they're actually hitting with shotguns, which I don't like as much just because that is nowhere near what an Uzi or double pistols or a Magnum could do here, and it's not really doing a whole lot, honestly, from that range. Hunter's going to land onto a survivor in the front. Rock's going to get skeeted. Charger does go in, does not manage to land, and the Jockey gets a momentary latch before being shoved off and shut down. EVO needs to LOS the tank at some point, but instead they're going to actually have Francis go up top here on the air conditioning units, trying to get more chip onto him. He's down almost 1k at this point, but again, I don't know exactly how effective this shotgun chip is going to be in the long run. They didn't take a massive amount of damage from that last hit, but now he's under 5k, and I don't know. It really depends, because now he could commit and get immediately melted, or they could have another situation where someone either gets death punched or something catastrophic like that happens. Beautiful boomer pop going out in the back. Smoker gets shut down, and the Hunter didn't do a massive amount either. Now, EVO also have to be paying attention to their ammo, I believe, and since they've gotten that 1k chip, now they're going to LOS, hitting the tank once again whenever he throws one of those underhand rocks. And I still actually hear Common somewhere, just randomly somewhere, still trying to get to the survivors. Not exactly sure what that's about, but Spirit's taking more chip now on that roof from the pistol chip, which I think is even more effective than those shotguns. And they're going for another hit, it would seem. Hunter bouncing around, trying to find a land, not going to get much of anything. Hunter's going to now try to land again, still not able to find anything for a target. Jockey got shut down too, and now Spirit's at 77% health, 4.625k for this commit. And he might actually even be forced in by EVO if they decide to LOS him right now. They're going to have a boomer on the special infected side for this, so that's going to have to land in short order because that tank can be absolutely melted prior to any kind of horde getting in. It's going to be a smoker, boomer, and a charger. I'd be surprised if they send another rocket here because this tank is still going to be getting chipped as he works his way in. Down to 4k before he even gets close, down to 3.2k. Boomer spawns up top, managing to land onto Francis. Spirit going for a punch onto Zoe, not landing it until now, however. The charger went for the same target. Zoe is now getting cornered in the middle here, and that's going to be a full down going out onto that survivor, and he misses a punch though onto Bill, who jumped back on that radiator. Much cleaner take by either team actually so far on this tank, because on the North American server, Bathtub Swimmers got multi-capped and punished super hard, and EVO had somebody get death punched, but now EVO are holding a great amount of bonus. This could be a map where they really do make up some ground. That jockey also going in the front, not going to land, Spit not finding anything either, and now it's Bathtub Swimmers who are a little discombobulated on the special infected side from that, not hitting together there, and the Spitter's already dead. EVO are going to be holding their W key as hard as possible as they go forward here too, because they know they should be able to take the offices and the stairs without a charged Spit, I believe. Yeah, there's the Boomer coming into spawn queue, and that's actually going to give them the Charger at the end, but again, only real way for this to do damage is if you have everything land at the same time. And in the offices, it's so easy to get those short-range clears, as happens right there on that Smoker. Charger gets melted and shut down. Hunter does land for a split second, but that Smoker dies, and EVO are off once more. They should be able to clear outside here, I would say, just because then they have to deal with rocket spawns and nothing more inside, but this is great for EVO so far, as they showed that that area in the front was a much better spot to take that tank. And this is going to be the last hit, last hurrah for Bathtub Swimmers on this. It's a 2-2 with a jockey and a Charger. But that jockey's going to land onto Francis in front. Charger's coming in from the back, landing onto Lewis. Spit goes down a little bit late, but it's still going to get a decent amount onto Fantasy. And again, good hit from Bathtub Swimmers, but this is big for EVO now, because they're going to be walking into that safe room with a decent amount of bonus, to say the least, bringing their campaign total to 1,968 so far. This is a big ask now for Bathtub Swimmers on Survivor side, I'll say it that, because they're going to have to deal with the same situation EVO did. Everybody with 200 ping, a horde, and a tank that most likely has to be fought outside. EVO can really snatch the momentum away if they're able to get any kind of wipe on this chapter, because last map we saw, you know, basically both teams making it with bonus, and on the other server we saw Bathtub Swimmers only getting the distance points and EVO scoring about 487 or something like that. So let's see what Bathtub Swimmers can do. They can obviously survive that tank as well, because it's outside, but the pressure is on them now, and the tank will be up in the hands of T-IMO when we get there. Boomer, Hunter, Spitter, and Jockey for this hit for the Special Infected, starting again with these rocket spawns from the roof, looking to get whatever they can onto the survivors here. I wouldn't be surprised if they sack the Boomer either, to maybe try to get something better on the fire escape. We haven't actually seen a fire escape hit yet from either team. Mostly because these spawns, you know, with a 2-2 like that, it's kind of easy to get out of the way of the Hunter or skeet it or back up, but this Hunter is actually pre-spawned looking for some kind of damage pounce. They might just send everything in. Baiting timer is also engaged, of course, for Team Bathtub Swimmers. They have 20 seconds before a horde spawns, and now they're on the dumpster, so it doesn't matter anymore. And that should give them clearance to maybe push towards the ladder, and the Boomer is going to rocket in, getting popped. That's going to be a double cap in the back, though, with that jockey, and the Spit is going to go down in front. It spreads up just a little bit, but it doesn't actually do any damage to the pounce target there that really would make any difference. And again, the fire escape is going to be a clear take by the survivors. They're going to be walking into a Charger next, I know that much. It's going to be a Smoker as well in the back. I expect EVO to maybe hit this outside, because they're going to have the Boomer. They can maybe get the Boom first and then see what they can send in terms of this hit. But again, it's going to be a Smoker, Jockey, and a Charger for the pinners. There's the Boom landing onto one survivor in the front. Jockey going in from the back along with the Charger, looking for what it can. They're trying to set up here too. Smoker is by the door, and the Charger is going to miss the death charge by a hair. By a hair. That was so close to being catastrophic for Bathtub Swimmers, but the Charger ended up charging in the opposite direction. Had the Smoker been actually able to get that pin, that was so close to just utter catastrophe for the survivors here. That's going to be a Hunter landing for a bit of damage, but it does also get insta-cleared inside. Jockey, Spitter, Boomer for the next. Boomer gets M2 shut down. The Spit is going to go in, not landing on anybody until that Jockey goes in, managing to pull Hydro off the side. Again, great damage spread by the Special Infected here, as that Horde is going to be a non-issue, getting hammered through the wall by those bullets and taking out any kind of threat it could have until it goes onto that staircase. So this should be another clean hit to deal with for Bathtub Swimmers. It's going to be a Charger, Smoker, Hunter, and a Boomer, so no Spitter on this either. I expect to see them send it kind of fast again. And indeed, the Boomer's going to go in, not getting anything that time. Smoker going for a pull-off, and the Hunter is going to land. Charger lands inside, but once again, no Spitter, and that's going to have the survivors move their way forward towards this dumpster. There is still a bit of Horde, but they should be able to deal with it even with their ping. They're maybe trying to play it as safe as possible, though, because they are getting stuck at that window just by some of the commons stuck underneath the window sill. and there's going to be a hit coming into Q2. It's going to be a Jockey, Spitter, Boomer, and a Hunter, so no Charger for this, but still, any hit when you're playing in a area like this and against people on ping, it has a chance at doing damage. That's going to be the Jockey looking for a spawn in the back, going to be shut down basically, but there is going to be a Pound Spit going out onto the Survivor up top there. The Spit was invisible, but it still did damage onto Spirit, who was standing up top, and that's a bit more damage going on to Zoe as well. So this is a good special infected round from EVO so far, even before that tank gets spawned. Let's see what they're able to do with it, because this could be pivotal in this game. It's up, as I mentioned before, into the hands of T-Ima, and he's going to be working his way through the offices, trying to catch those survivors. You know, if he gets an early corner on this, this could be really, really bad, and he's going to maybe try to rotate to the roof with this. It's a Hunter Charger and a Smoker as he goes in, and there's going to be a Pounce landing for 11 damage, plus that Smoker pull onto Zoe. Tank is going for a rock, almost landing it, but Spirit getting the last second rock skeet there. That was so close to 24 damage onto him, but he managed to hit that skeet the same way he hit the skeet on the Hunter last map. So good on Bathtub Swimmers there for not taking a massive amount of damage, but they have a really, really difficult tank fight coming up, I can say, just because this tank's still at 5.8k, and there is a boom going out onto Zoe. Not the double boom you'd usually look for to commit, but he actually could decide to do it if he wanted to. Smoker Pole goes out in front, trying to get some damage onto Bill. Again, EVO kind of going one by one here on their SI, but it's working for them because they're getting damage, they're getting horde. You know, they're able to do what they can on this, and playing against a rock tank with 200 ping just absolutely sucks, as we all know. Jockey's going to be trying to land, not getting much of anything either. Kind of setting spawns one by one, but they aren't trying to chip the tank in this scenario. Everyone's trying to LOS, and hitboxes are possible here, but those shotguns are managing to land those rock skeets before any hitboxing really goes out, making sure to focus that rock at the same time. Tank is on 25% first pass. Charger, Hunter, and Boomer for the next hit. He could decide to send maybe one other in. We're not seeing anybody try to play for the hittables at this point. Charger is going to go in as that Hunter gets shut down. Charger is going to land, however, with a single boom going out onto Zoe as well. So these hits are landing. Hydro's popped pills, and the tank isn't really getting chipped. That's the thing. He's managing to work his way to the edge of the roof and throw these underhand rocks, all of which have a chance of landing, but the skeets have gone out so far until right there. That is a rock landing onto Hydro, and he already had popped his pills. This is not a scenario that you want to be in if you're Team Bathtub Swimmers. That tank got his first pass again as this hit's going to go in. Smoker managing to land. Hunter bouncing around, looking to distract the survivors. Not going to work that time as the Jockey goes in, looking for a pin. Now is going to get it, and the Smoker's going for scratches. Rock going in is going to get skeeted, but Hydro had to take another set of pills in the middle of this, and they might be hurting for ammo. That's the thing. They're actually going back across the dumpster now to the same area that we saw EVO take it. There's no reason for the tank to rush a commit on this because the survivors are going to have to come back outside at some point. They need the ammo, of course, but they're now going to have to deal with another hit, and they're actually just moving backwards. I am surprised to see that. I don't know if they're going to be trying to AI him or what exactly is going on, but that Charger does get a double as we have the Hunter and the Boomer in the queue, and the tank still has his second pass to play with, you know? He's at 85%, and they're going to have to try to take him in this hallway here, moving between the rooms as well, kind of serpentining towards them. They're going to have to fight him in this room with the tank still about 4.6k HP, and he's going to go in right now, managing to land. The first multi-punch is a triple onto the survivors, getting another punch in the corner there, working for the down now onto Bill, and there it is. He's almost dead as the support come in. Tank's going to hit another punch as this is going to be the corner. Actually might be crashing at this point, so we'll see what happens, but that might be Left 4 Dead 2 just being bad. Is the wipe? Okay. Wow, that is insane. My apologies, that actually, that tank was so impressive that actually crashed my game. One moment, please. Alright, it looks like it's come back to normal now. That honestly was I unfortunately expected a wipe when the survivors were going back there, because in a room like that with that kind of ping, the tank hit a triple punch immediately and then was able to get the other corners plus the support going in. So that is extremely unfortunate for Team Bathtub Swimmers, and now they only have like a 1.1k lead. Alright, I am back in the server now. They have the tank spawn at the right percentage, and that was an example of, unfortunately, Team Bathtub Swimmers, after they ate that rock, plus they didn't have ammo, they had to move back so unfortunately to that small room. Even when you're playing against a team with the same kind of ping, right, that can easily be a wipe because the tank can just find a corner there. They were unable to shut down those hits. Plus that one rock, I think, that was eaten by Hydro is what made them go backwards, and now it's a 1,060 point lead for EVO going into this map. That's going to be the Charger managing to land for just a second onto Bill, but everything else getting cleared, and that skeet going out by T-Ima onto Hydro. This is going to be extremely important now for Team Bathtub Swimmers on Special Infected. They need this tank to do something. If EVO are able to make the safe room the same way that we saw Bathtub Swimmers do on the last server, this could be extremely perilous for them. Presto is going to get this tank for Team Bathtub Swimmers. Boomer's going to try to go from behind the concrete cylinders, not finding much of anything. That hittable is going to fly onto the roof instead of right over where he wants it to go, I think, because he was able to bring in 4 dumpsters last time. Charger and Hunter are still in the spawn queue here as that dumpster falls down next to the spool. He's going to have the same amount of hittables now, but the thing is, we didn't see either tank land them because they really have to use them more for leverage and more to corral the survivors in a really open area. And Charger, Smoker, Hunter for this, they're going to be sending it in. Smoker from below looking to find the land. Charger's going to get absolutely nothing on that. The Hunter manages to land onto Lewis for a bit of damage, but EVO are going to be wise to this, and they're probably going to LOS the tank as much as they can, because chip from this distance without the distance Uzi really isn't going to do much. It's Susie's instead of the unsilenced. And Presto is going to be forced to commit, I think, on the next hit. They're looking at him now, and he's getting a bit of rage from it, but he's going to be forced on the second pass with this hit. It's going to be a Jockey, a Boomer, and one final spawn is going to be the Smoker. So, needs a lot of work to be done in an area where the survivors can pretty easily kite him around. He's going to be working his way in there right now on the fire escape, going for the dumpsters down below, hitting them up. That one is going to go onto the roof. They're looking to get a pull, too, maybe to these dumpsters, but they haven't been able to find it yet. Jockey is also up. I don't know exactly what's going on right now for Bathtub Swimmers. They sent 2/3 of the hit. Presto's at 5%. If he backs up, he's going to AI. He is not going to AI. He's going to go in with that single boom. But if he even breaks sight on the survivors one more time, he is going to go bot. He's going to be trying to push them off the top, landing a punch onto Bill over to the side, but his support is not even in queue until now. EVO focusing Presto's tank. There's the down going out. Hunter going in as well, trying to find anything it can. Tank's going to land another punch onto Zoe, another punch onto Zoe because they're killing the support at the same time, but that is just a down and 3/4 from Presto's tank. That's honestly as much as I think he probably could have gotten in that area, especially because they were still trying to set him up with that Jockey and that Smoker as he was on top of that roof. If he had actually hit his S key, I think any more than he had on that roof, he would have gone straight AI. He was second pass, 5%. When he committed, and he managed to get it down and also another couple punches as they threw support in a little bit late. Boomer is going to get shut down though because EVO have gotten their bearings again on top of these scaffoldings. Spitter, Hunter, and a Smoker for this hit. They might decide to save for the alley once again, but EVO are going to be full go-going as soon as they possibly can, I think, after this horde is dead. Because if they make the save from this bonus and then they're still able to inflict a good amount of damage with that tank, this is going to put all the pressure on Bathtub Swimmers on their away server at this point. It really depends, and it's still their game to lose, I would say, but they're going to have to do work on SI here and then hopefully survive that tank with bonus if they can. It's just a calamity, though, in that area if a Boomer lands or if they manage to get some kind of setup, right? And EVO were able to shut that down completely on their survivor side without having any hittables land. They have 2 survivors bleeding, but they have 2 sets of pills, and Dab Face is also at 100 HP. That is a decent amount of work still to be done, but let's see what this hit's able to do. It's going to be a Charger, Smoker, Spitter, and a Hunter. They're saving it
for the alley once again, really relying on those rocket spawns. EVO just going to take their time, killing the rest of the horde, getting ammo. Really no reason for them to rush quite yet, I would say. And honestly, I mean, if this hit's able to get maybe another down or something, like because the charger's able to land and then they're able to get a spit on top that holds survivors in it, that would be what they're looking for. But the survivors have the advantage of the ping now, and they're going to be able to go either from room to room or just back up as much as they can on survivor side. They have 2 survivors blocking the room as they're working their way down. It's picture-perfect positioning so far, but it looks as though Bathtub Swimmers are going to send it around this corner. Zoe's going to commit pills. They have 1 set left on Francis, and here comes the hit. That's going to be the Charger managing to land in the front with a spit down on top of that, but I think Bill's going to be able to jump on top of the dumpster and not take an in-cap from it. That is crucial because the damage bonus has also obviously started to be affected by these hits, but what EVO really need to do is they need to move fast. That's why Bill's going to commit those pills as Zoe is moving her way all the way forward. They know they only have a couple more dangerous hits to take before they're in the safe room, and the fact they were able to make up as many points as they were on that last map puts them in great position again here. Hunter, Boomer, Smoker, Jockey for the hit. Boomer gets an arc boom, Smoker gets instantly cleared, Jockey lands just instantly cleared as well, and the Hunter's going to get shut down by those Uzis while on the ground before having any impact on this health bonus. They're also going to find another set of pills, I believe, in the cabinet. Indeed, they do. They're going to be pushing their way outside and clearing everything because they know there's going to be another set of rocket spawns coming onto them from on top of the Metro International Airport sign. But they're going to be going over the plane, making short work of it, and then moving their way inside before the Special Infected are even set up. We saw them take the long way on the opposite server when they were on Survivor here, but now this charge is going to be coming from the closet, getting nothing. Smoker shut down, free spit goes in, Jockey gets M2'd. That is a pure shutdown by Team EVO as they continue blitzing their way through this map, looking exactly almost like Bathtub Swimmers did on the last half, but they were able to make it, I'm talking about Bathtub Swimmers of course, with a bit better bonus on their Survivor side. EVO are still going to be pretty happy with this. And that's going to come down to that early tank once again. So, Boomer, Charger, Hunter, Smoker for this last hit, or what should be the last hit, 14 Bathtub Swimmers. Hunter gets blown out of the sky. Smoker not able to get anything either. Boomer gets a proxy onto Zoe, and it's going to be just this Charger left, looking to make any kind of noise he can, getting shut down with just a punch onto Zoe, and they choose to save the pills, making it into the safe room for a total score of 3,180. This is just about the difference that we saw from the first game. This is going to be such a close match if Team Bathtub Swimmers survive this tank, survive the horde, and find a way to make it close to the safe room. They might still be leading going into map 4, but this is going to be one hell of a finish that we're setting up for here, obviously, because there's still 2 whole maps for Bathtub Swimmers on Survivor. This tank is crucial. And honestly, I mean, we've seen every tank try to go for those hittables, but I think it's the right play, because you put them in place. If you manage to get the survivors, you know, to back into one or get a pull or a charge or something to it, that is immediate calamity, right? But honestly, there's no reason that EVO couldn't just go for damage on this tank as well and then take their chances with the hits in the map. I don't know exactly what they're going to do for it. It's going to be Dabface's tank, and this first hit is going to be as crucial as any hit in this game still. It's the kind of home and away series that you love to see as a spectator, and it could still go either way. Charger, Smoker, Boomer, Hunter for the first hit here for Team EVO as Bathtub Swimmers poke their way out of the safe room. They're going to try to bait this, I think, as much as they possibly can, looking toward those roofs. Hunter's going to spawn up. Smoker's going to go for a pull in the front. That's going to be a beautiful double charge going out, and a Hunter landing as well for the damage there onto Team Bathtub Swimmers. What a beautiful hit by EVO just to get that even damage spread as well before tank turns into a rolling quad boom from the proxy. And that's going to cause even more combat now to make their way towards Bathtub Swimmers. Obviously would have been better with a spitter, but now this tank is going to have the ability to do some work. And we did see a partial rock tank last chapter from T-IMA, which is what forced Team Bathtub Swimmers to go back because they were running out of ammo and also getting hit. Next hit's going to be going in here as well. Jockey and Smoker are both going to land. Spit's not going to do a massive amount of damage, but that's a good amount of damage on the Spirit from that Jockey. So these hits are now doing work by EVO. They look completely synchronized on their side again, and now the tank is up into the hands of Dabface himself, playing with the same dumpsters that Presto was working with on the last half. Let's see if he decides to hit in and then potentially climb up. That's going to be a bit of a tougher hit for him, as it's going to keep rolling down the event boxes, not finding a way to hit in quite yet, and now does get it on the third attempt. Boomer gets a beautiful double boom, though, from underneath the survivors. Hunter lands up top, getting even more damage. Hunter does get cleared. Charger's going to take him now, though, over to the side, almost getting a slam, and the tank is having absolutely no one shoot him, as the stump is going to fall straight down, almost clipping the survivors there. Another one landing up top. Oh my goodness, this is going to be really precarious for Team Bathtub Swimmers. Oh my goodness, that Boomer plus that Hunter Charger combination still doing work, and the tank is going to be curbing these rocks around the corner. They don't have the distance Uzi either, it would seem. Francis has that silence Uzi up top. Boomer spawns again and gets another boom and a double cap going in with a rock almost landing. The jockey brings the survivor toward a dumpster, but Hydro is just getting absolutely destroyed in the back by that smoker. The tank is in, going for Zoe on the side, hitting a dumpster up over the wall, almost landing it onto Sue. There it is. That's the in cap from the second one there. That's a really bad position for him to be in, as the tank is still having 4k HP, pushing up top, trying to go for Francis in the front, not quite catching him yet, trying to get him with a long arm, but there's going to be the support going in. Charger's going to land, Smoker's going to land, Team EVO looking to wrap this up almost right here. Rock goes down onto Spirit, tank pushing his way in, looking to get that corner onto Hydro, throwing another rock right now, trying to whip it at Zoe, but not finding it, finding the punch instead. Spirit is the last survivor up, and that is the wipe going out by Team EVO onto Bathtub Swimmers. It is now their game to lose, because that is almost the exact delta that we saw from the North American server. That tank had 86 health. Oh my goodness, just utterly stupendous special infected play by Team EVO, especially on these tanks. Oh my goodness. I mean, this is still wipeable, right, at the safe room here for Bathtub Swimmers. It's a tank where they're going to have the advantage potentially of long arms, but if both tanks wipe here, we're going to need to bring out a calculator to figure out how close this game will have been on this home and away scenario. If EVO live this tank, if they survive and they're able to get more distance points, then again, their tank might be able to keep doing work. As we saw in the last two chapters, we've seen 2 wipes go out onto Bathtub Swimmers the last 2 maps. This is going to be so close. Let's make sure they don't forget to set the tank. I'm just going to remind them now, because hopefully people won't ready up. This is gonna, it's like a 23% tank or something like that from what I remember, but my brain is totally lost in the hype of seeing how Team EVO have pulled this together on their home server. It's been such a close game between these two teams, and that's exactly what we expected at the start, even though it was this home and away scenario. This map 4 is absolutely everything for EVO, and it's everything for Bathtub Swimmers as well. You know, choosing to fight the tank in the safe room, I don't know if EVO are going to do that again. We saw both teams take it in the safe room there. You can also take it in the room with the offices, but man, it's going to be such a tough decision for either side, because if this tank, right, we saw the tank on the last game in the safe room, right, when Bathtub Swimmers were there, missed 2 point blanks due to ping. And the thing about having ping arms, right, is you like to have ping arms when they're orange, because it's still relatively good, but red ping, you can whiff punches all the time, even in some of the weirdest areas. And you can try to get used to it, try to get consistent, but Left 4 Dead 2 is still Left 4 Dead 2, and we have a 57-point game right now in front of us. That's what we're seeing. I believe it was 22 as well. And as long as they agree, it's going to be the same. It's going to be the same fight, right? I mean, it's going to be somewhere there. Let me see. Let me check. We'll see. Okay, yeah, they got it. It's 22. Okay, so we have that settled. We have both Survivor and Infected ready up. We have one of the closest games we have seen in this community in such a long time in front of us because of this home and away system. And EVO, right, this is the point where they can clinch it on Survivor, and Bathtub Swimmers have one more shot on the Special Infected. Hydro will have this tank. First hit's going to be a Hunter managing to land. Smoker getting cleared. Charger's going to land as well, and the Boomer unfortunately dropped below the Survivors and not able to land here. Survivors working their way forward, and here is that tank up for Bathtub Swimmers in the hands of Hydro. This is for everything, and the Survivors are playing it now in the hallway versus the safe room. One reason for them doing that, honestly, is because it's a 57-point game. You know, it could go to some place. If they get wiped here, right, we could literally see Bathtub Swimmers holding W to try to take the win. I'm not even putting that. I mean, this is the playoffs, right? If you have a chance to do that, it might not be the best strategy in the world. They might not even need to do it, but let's see exactly what happens as Hydro is in, getting the first punch on to Francis. Second punch going out as well, but he's getting shredded. Here comes the SI support. Charger's gonna land. Hunter's gonna take the jockey target. There's only one survivor left. Oh my goodness, there's the clear though, going out onto Zoe. This jockey still looking to land onto Lewis, not able to get it though. Hydro looking for that punch onto Zoe, not going to find it, and he is going to die. That was inches from a wipe. Absolutely inches from a wipe. That Hunter took the jockey target, and then the jockey was unable to land onto Lewis. If they had any lower ping on the Special Infected side, that would have been a clean 3-cap wipe, I think, in some way. Hydro doing the best he possibly could. EVO, though, still alive, working their way over to the luggage chute on the side. Probably now one more hit going in. Smoker's going to land up top. Does get cleared. Hunter's bouncing around down below. The Boomer is not going to land that proxy. Hunter does manage to land with a spit going out on top of that, but now it's going to be so dependent on how that tank on the next half goes. EVO have the ping advantage, and they have the ability to keep moving forward now to get these all-important distance points. Every single step they take at this point is more pressure that's put on a team Bathtub Swimmers, just because everything with 200 ping is honestly that much harder than playing with this green we have in front of us now for EVO. They're going to move their way forward, triggering that second wave of horde automatically. Lewis is standing in the corner just oozing everything down as the hit is looking to come in. It's a Jockey, Smoker, Charger, Boomer. Double Boom does manage to land. Jockey's bouncing around trying to find any kind of distraction that it can. Gets melted and shut down. The Charger misses. Bill pushes the Smoker. Great play there by T-Ima to juke that Charger and then move directly into the Smoker. As there is one person, though, still hoarded behind, that being Fantasy, who is the slow survivor, as Team EVO continue to push their way forward. That horde doing a great amount of damage actually to Zoe, and more importantly, slowing them down. There is a huge split right now on Survivor side. They're managing to get back together right before this hit is up. It's a Hunter, Spitter, Jockey, and a Smoker for Team Bathtub Swimmers. Let's see what EVO decide to do. They could chill here for a minute and kill Horde, or they could keep moving forward. Bill, though, using all of that speed with that shotgun to just find every single spawn and then maybe shut it down if anything were to spawn. They have Chrome Shotties now on Bill and Francis. This hit is spawned up now, though, with that Hunter in the side room. Hunter, Spitter, Jockey, and a Smoker. Let's see what happens here. Hunter's going for the wall kick, gets skeeted by Melly. Jockey gets taken out, too. Boomer is not going to find anything, and this Smoker is going to get chased down and killed as Francis works his way forward. Fantasy is at 1 HP. Maybe trying to make the Special Infected down him with a hit, because I would have expected them to down him now. But instead, they're going to keep moving their way forward, trying to eke out those distance points, and they still have 78.7% damage bonus. That's the number that you have to be looking at right now. Health bonus is what it is. That's going to be a charge going on to Francis in the front. Hunter's going to get blown out of the sky by T-Ima. That Jockey is up top. Boomer's going to get popped. Jockey goes in, gets the down onto Zoe, but now it makes more sense for EVO. They have those 2 in-caps go out. Melly, aka Francis, is going to be black and white. Fantasy is still 1 in-cap as they move their way forward. They're looking to make safe room here and then wrap it up on Special Infected side, which has been their strength so far through both of these games, we can say. And let's see if this hit's able to get another in-cap or maybe even the death. It's a Spitter, Smoker, Charger, and a Hunter for Bathtub Swimmers. Charger goes for punches and dies. Then the Hunter's going to be in the front, going for Lewis. Smoker pole does get cleared. Spit goes down on nothing. Extremely important that that Spit didn't do any kind of residual damage. Fantasy jumping up onto the seats on the side to avoid anything like that. They're going to be rounding this corner, and it's going to put all the pressure now onto Bathtub Swimmers because it looks as though they're making it with a bit of bonus, along with the set of pills that Lewis just managed to find in the corner. Bill trying to wrap this up, and he does. 3,952 points for Team EVO on their home server. That's a delta of 2,000, about 2,900, right? And so it's about an 800-ish point game, something like that. We're going to have to, like I said, we'll bring out the exact calculations if it gets close. The first real challenge for Bathtub Swimmers is this tank. And the question's going to be, do they take it in the safe room like they did before, or do they take it in the offices up front? EVO played it great kind of in the offices, aside from the fact they almost got triple capped, right? But they managed to survive it and then make the map. That is super, super, super important for them, because now they have a bit of a cushion on their special infected side. They're going to be able to get exactly the hit that they want, and it's going to put the pressure on Bathtub Swimmers with this 200 ping to make a play. Honestly, I mean, safe room might be the play still for them, because they're able to shoot the tank coming from the same direction and then have everybody up top, and you have to just not get multi-punched. But when they tried to take it in the room on the second map, they got triple punched, double capped, and the tank was able to get a wipe with a low amount of HP. That's been the story so far, including last map when we saw that 86 health point tank get that wipe. I don't know. It's going to be this first hit, and then we'll see exactly what they decide to do. I think they're still talking about it on the Survivor side, because this is a call that could win or lose them the game, and it's also one of the last calls they could be making in RBT5. Let's see exactly what happens now. Fantasy will have the tank for EVO. The first hit's a Charger, Smoker, Boomer, and a Hunter as Bathtub Swimmers are live here. Last half of the last map of this home and away game. Absolutely nowhere else you'd be, right? And let's see exactly what they're able to do as this Charger is trying to spawn up top. And it looks as though they actually might be holding it to have a pull forward and then maybe a Hunter intercept from the left-hand side. They're guarding the offices extremely well, because I think they know that's a much better spot to take it. But Francis is all the way back, standing in the safe room as Zoe's watching the mid spawn. They really, really want to hit these two survivors in the front. And here comes the baiting timer as well, which is going to be dependent on whether or not one of the survivors leaves the safe room. Boomer's gonna spawn, gets an instant double boom. Charger, Smoker, Hunter for the rest of this support. The Smoker didn't yet spawn, and this tank in the hands of Fantasy is working its way towards them for EVO. But as you can see, there's not a massive amount of horde coming in. It's trickling in from the back, but the tank is going in with this, it would seem, as he moves close to that corner, down to 4.5k, getting the first punch onto Sue, climbing up, getting a punch onto Lewis as well. They're going absolutely ham on him in the safe room. Hunter's gonna land, double cap, almost landing there with the Smoker. Charger manages to land as well. Tank has 800 HP, trying to do as much work as possible. Smoker lands, another multi-punch going out, and maybe one more. No, the tank is going to die, and Bathtub Swimmers are still alive. Oh my goodness, they did not take it. Oh man, they only took one down at that tank. It's all gonna come down to the residual hits and how much bonus they have now. This is going to be an absolute nail-biter if they're able to stay alive. They weren't able to get that last multi-punch on the side of EVO, plus the Smoker there wasn't able to go in until the end. This hit is looking to go in, though. Boomer gets popped. Hunter bouncing around, managing to land. Jockey jumping around as well. The spit is going to spread absolutely everywhere. Hydro absolutely stuck on top of that couch. They need to make the map. They need to find another set of pills and then keep moving their way forward. Oh my goodness. This is going to be so close, so long as they don't get hit in the middle of this horde. And now they have a question where it's like, do you want to try to push through horde with 200 ping, or do you want to try to go underneath the awning with everybody bleeding? And it looks as though they're separated a lot right now as Bill is forward. Zoe is all the way back to the other spot. That's going to be a pull going out onto Zoe. It is going to get cleared. The Charger and the Boomer are looking to go in as well. The Boomer's not going to land. Charger's going to drop in from the top, trying to land in the corner. Not going to get it though, but Sue is completely separated on the side with a spit going down as well on top of him. There's just so much distance between the survivors. I think there was a question as to which way they'd be going. One person went all the way forward and the other one was all the way back. That's a decent amount of damage going out, but now let's see. They're going to have to work their way with this horde through the Vector Airlines conveyor belt, moving their way forward. Jockey and Hunter both going in from the back. Jockey's going to land. Hunter is going to land the intercept as well. Spirit getting drugged all the way back around the corner. Oh my goodness, that Boomer also isn't going to get anything, so it's just the horde still pouring in on the survivors. They're going to have 3 people slow almost, and they have a pickup to get with a jockey and a charger in the spawn queue for EVO. That's going to be a full death actually on the Spirit. They didn't pick him up. He's completely dead, and now this is going to be Team EVO by the skin of their teeth almost, taking this win over Bathtub Swimmers almost. Oh my goodness, they split so badly on that event. Sue was back on the stairs, on the escalator going the other way, and his teammates were just too far away to even be able to clear him. That is a heartbreaker for Team Bathtub Swimmers, but Team EVO with just Hydro left, that's going to be the GG coming out as the Hunter lands in one of the closest home and away matches I have ever casted. It came right down to the last chapter. The biggest commiserations I can possibly give to Team Bathtub Swimmers for how they fought in this game between those two servers, but EVO brought it home by just about 400 or 500 points on their home server. What an incredible match to continue this top 16 as EVO are going to advance to the top 8 in RBT5. Wow. Just wow. One of the best matches I believe I've casted in a very, very, very long time. And it just goes to show how close these games can be, especially 1-4 on Dead Air. You know, without the finale being involved, it was all down. I mean, it was Map 2 really that did it, I'll say, when Team Bathtub Swimmers backed up. They just were in the middle of a rock tank fight that wasn't going their way. And when they backed up that way, they got wiped in the room. And on home as well, they only made it with the distance points versus health versus EVO managing to make it in on every map that they had. So, with a good amount of health bonus. Wow. Alright, so we have other games from the top 16 on their way happening tomorrow. I believe one is going to be at, I think it's either 9 a.m. or 11 a.m. I think it's actually 9 a.m. and it'll be on Kreitch's channel. And that's the nearest game that's coming up. But we have also been told that the Keyboard Warriors and Quick Cleans game has also been scheduled, so we'll have that tomorrow as well. And these games could all be honestly just as close as what we saw. And if they are, I will be hoping to see you there either from the casting chair or from chat as well. So, on behalf of the RBT5 admin staff, thank you for watching this game. Thank you to Vanel for streaming, Sir, of course, for hosting the servers, and also Ace's Playground for the usage in this game. Congratulations to Team EVO, commiserations to Team Bathtub Swimmers, and we hope to see you extremely soon for the rest of the round of 16 games, and then, of course, the rest of the tournament's going to be on its way right after that. Thank you all for watching. I've been Rails Barlow, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.